Okay. Whoa! That was a chair failure. What a way to start a stream. Um, we are almost live with Tater-N-Meows. And we are a lot closer to on time tonight. We are unofficially brought to you by Yorkshire Gold. If I'm moving, chances are that Yorkshire Gold tea has something to do with it. Now, this week, Tater Meows, I'm called Doing It Right because I am not half an hour late. I'm going to go hello chat. That's not hello chat. Hello chat. Be right back. Okay, oh, hi, Bonnie B. I just went out to my own television to make sure that I am actually streaming, doing the self check because my tater my my YouTube analytics are telling me I'm alone here. Hi, Bonnie. Nice to see you. Uh, we are still learning this stuff, but we're not an hour late like we were last time, or a half an hour, or whatever. I'm gonna change something right here. So I got home and tried to prepare my stream, and it's just going through all the software and learning it. So it took a lot of time. I'm I might need to add a few things if I can figure it out. So where do we start? Let's start with our. See, I didn't even have time to write down my program flow. But this week we are at 1,300 subs. Let me find out where we were last week. We were at 1,320 subs. So I passed through 1,000 on January 18th. I remember because I was hanging out with friends that day. Here we go. Open this up. So we banged through 1,000 on the 18th, and then we've just been climbing. Last week we were at 1,267. This week we're at 1,320. So that is 53 subs in the last week. The watch hours on the channel went up by 11 hours, which is what they did the week before. But that's more since we started doing almost live. The watch hours are starting to come up better. Get back to here. So we are kicking along with the channel and with the subs. I was going to start doing, I've got some video for Tater and for Meows. I was going to have Tater Time and the Meowsers Minute and have their own video, but I was having trouble adding that video into the software. Hi, Tater Meows. Good in the climb and everything else. Yeah, I'll chat back to Bonnie. Eventually I'll be able to, talking and chatting at the same time. I'll try and get better at talking and chatting at the same time. So, but I'm still learning I'm still learning the software. It took me a long time to set it up, but I found one of the snags for the software is it makes me sign in every week, and I'm using AI to tell me what to do in the software, and AI will say, go here, do this, do that. I'm like, no, my screen doesn't look like that. My screen doesn't look like, if you look in the left corner, like, well, it's in the top right corner. So eventually I'll just learn it, and it shouldn't take long. Here's Meowser's clawing at me again, and Tater's sitting right behind me on the bed, like you see him in the videos sometimes. So they're both here. Yes, Meows. As soon as I start talking, as soon as Meows hears my voice, he thinks that I need to pay attention to him, and he will put his claws in me if I don't. You're distracting me, Meows. So, yes, Meows. I need to. Maybe by the next week, I'll hook up my live camera. And Meows is doing this. I'll just switch over to the live camera and beam down on him, so you guys don't have to imagine it in your head. Do the theater of the mind cat stuff. So the Meowsers Minute. Let's talk about Meows a little bit. Meows has had a pretty good week. I did find, it's over here, and I'll have film for it next week. I found this piece of styrofoam that has all the corners chewed off. I've talked about how Meows will eat plastic if I leave it laying around, so I try really hard not to leave plastic laying around. But I've got this piece of styrofoam packing, and yes, all the corners are chewed off, so Meows has been eating the styrofoam packing, and Meows can't digest plastic and styrofoam, so I've been finding little bits of Meowser's bubbles around from time to time. So I know what you've been eating. Other than that, Meows has been actually pretty low key this week. It's been hard to get him to play. He's wanted to just curl up and snuggle on my lap and get petted a lot more than play, which I find quite unusual for him. So for Tater time, Tater's been his typical Tater self. I see him on the screen right now. I'm petting him with the scratcher wand, which I cut that out for the video today. I cut a few seconds, like a minute of that out. But Tater's back to his, I'm going to eat really fast and leave you a present at the bottom of the stairs. So I'm working really hard to yes, Meows. I'm working really hard with Tater to feed him in little bits. Like if you look at the food, well, the food's not on the screen anymore, but if you look in there, hey, I can just rewind it a little bit. So in the food dish, you'll see that I just put a little bit of food in there. And that's so Tater doesn't just eat it all and give me a present at the bottom of the stairs. There we go. Here comes the food dish, maybe. Hi, Tater. Tater likes that grabber toy. We're waiting for my laundry room to show up. I rewinded too far. So we'll just look at Tater. And Meows. And an ear. There you go. You can see the food dish. Boy, you could barely see the food dish. Well, I have a pause button too. Come on, Meows. Come on, Tater. It's blurry, but you see there's just a tiny bit of food in the food dish. That's how I've been trying to feed them, because otherwise Tater will take too much and leave me a present. Other than that, they've just been Tater's been a Tater cat. Meows has been a little bit more low-key. Tater's been sleeping on my head, and last night he was pawing at my face. Just wouldn't leave me alone, so I'm trying to sleep, and he'll just stick his paw in my face. I'm like, dude, I'm sleeping. So that wasn't a lot of... He got on my nerves a little bit, so I covered up my face with my blanket, and he finally left me alone. I'm working on, I still want to do the merch stuff, and I designed a couple of things, And I was going to have, it took a lot longer to get online, but I did it before I got online last week. All the stuff I was struggling with for the last hour, I was struggling with when I was supposed to be on. So, Bonnie, for your sake, let's see if I can. I know I added this last week. Let me pop over here. Um, I'm asking the computer how I do the. Okay, how to add. Stay in my current scene. Go to sources. Click the plus button. Choose image. Give it a title. Browse for what I'm looking for. I know this is so exciting. Okay, here we go. I can do this. And put OK. Now, resize it and position it. Oh, it's on the screen now. Well, that's interesting. Okay, well, that'll actually work. It's not kind of the way I wanted this to look, but let's pause it right here where you can see it. So the decal I showed you last week was Tater-N-Meows, but if you remember how that one looked, it was a lot more complicated. It had all the dots for the whiskers. So I redesigned it to look like this because I actually tried to cut it and make it, and it was just too hard because it was too complicated. So I went back in and redesigned it, and this I should be able to cut and make. I'm looking at it as I'm talking to you. But yeah, there should be no problems with this one. The difference between this one and the other one had all these floating pieces, like the nose had all these little pieces to make the nose instead of this one where the noses and the mouth are all connected as one long line. That's easy to do because the cut goes along there and you pull away from the cut and all that, everything you see there will be left behind. The other one had all those, the nose were all these pieces that were floating, and it had the dots for the whiskers. It would have just been little dots about the size of a period. So that was going to be very hard. But this is going to be very easy. So that should be a decal I can make. How do I get rid of it then? Let's go back to here. Let's start playing again. And I guess this works. I can take it away. Boop. Hey, I can do that. So let's go back to my live stream. Oh, cool. He sleeps right on top. Yes, Tater sometimes sleeps on my head. Oh, good, Bonnie. Yeah, I'm going to make the decals. And tomorrow I need to go to the post office to mail something out. I'm going to talk to them about a post office box because I want to just make the decals and sell them as I want to open up a Tater-N-Meows on eBay. That way I can do it and I don't need to go through Teespring or anybody else. And when I do, I want to make the first like 10 or so. I'll get it up on but I'll put them on eBay for free. And the first 10 people who buy them will get them for free. And hopefully that'll be you guys in my live stream, right? Hopefully. So I can do that. And so that one's cool. Let's see if I can do this again. Let's add another image. Let's go call it that. Let's browse for the image. Okay. Let's add it. Okay, there it is. And we'll go to here and I'll pause. Okay, this isn't exactly how I want it to be, but this was the idea that Matt had where we're playing on the Bigfoot idea. So the one on the left is taller and bigger and fatter. Let's be honest. So that's Taterfoot. And then the one on the right is Meow's foot. And I showed you these, but I worked on these a little bit too because the design wasn't quite what I wanted. This is a lot easier, and it's... Oh, wait a minute. Hey, I got an idea. I'm going to try something new. Hey, look what I can do. Cool. And then let's go ahead and do this and browse. Yeah, it's based off of this classic. I can slide this down and move it over here. Yeah, it's based off of this classic Bigfoot. So Bigfoot should be about that tall, and these two guys should be about that tall. Maybe something like this. And the decal I want to make is going to be something like this. Does Bigfoot go over the top? Oh, it just does. Well, what if I do this? Nope. Anyway, something like this. The three of them walking around along beside each other. And it'll say Bigfoot, Taterfoot, and Meow's foot. So, yeah. And I'm going to click you out. It's going to ask me if that's what I want to do. I'm going to click you out. Oop, that's not what I wanted. It's got to be fun listening to me learn my stuff. Let's get these guys moving again. But I want to show you something else that I've been working on. If I can find it. Yeah, here he is. I'm also playing with this idea. Let's see how this one shows up. There we go. The colors are completely backwards, but and he's got the Spider-Man face, so this is maybe not the right one. Huh. What's going on the right? That's weird. But so that's Super Tater, but he's still got the Spider-Man face. So I need to work on that. Let's do this. Doop. Come on. And back to here, and let's start you moving again. Hopefully you guys are seeing what I'm seeing on the screen. I got my YouTube on the right-hand side, and I got my OBS on the left-hand side. Where is this? I'm going to... Thanks, Bonnie. And let me see. I've got... Yeah, hopefully I'm not stepping on anybody's trademark property if I do that. There's that one. Here we go. Let's see how this one shows up. Yeah, there it is. So we got Spider Tater. And I don't know why. Boy, I don't know if I can. I'm looking at that. That might be hard. I might have to redesign that because all the little teeny tiny lines on there, those are going to be crazy hard to do. But I've got enough there. I can maybe work with it and redesign it. And let's go ahead and click out of this one. And I'm going to show you one more. Doesn't even matter what I title it because I'm going to be clicking off it pretty quick. There they are. Those colors are completely reversed. But I am confused about what's going on my YouTube side over here. But now we should have on the screen, we should have basically Bat, Tater, and Robin Meows. And it should be distinct enough that I shouldn't run into any trademarking issues. Yes, Bonnie, I think your favorite would be the first one, because of course it would be. Oh, on the right hand side, I must be talk. Okay, I see what's going on. That lag is crazy. So yeah, these are some of the decals I'm designing. They're not getting very far along yet, but by next week I should have them cut. So I'll cut them. I'll cut out some samples. I'll paste them to the glass, and I will. I'll just take film of them, so you'll be able to actually see them on glass. I should have plenty of time to see that by next week. Let's delete this guy. So that's kind of the merch idea stuff. This last one is my second favorite. Let's see if I have any others in there that stuff I'm playing with, but yeah, we'll try this one. So if we had a tater foot, I decided maybe we could have a Taterzilla. Let's see this one. Yeah, let's try this one. So if I can pause it in the right spot, there, we can pause it right there. Pause. Pause it right on Tater. So I had the idea that if I've got a Tater Bigfoot, I could make a Tater Godzilla and call him Taterzilla, and he's just stomping on everything. I'm going to have to redesign that decal, but that's what I'm working on so far. So it'd be just Taterzilla going and getting mad at things and stomping them. Hey! Back to play. So that's what's going on so far this week. Let me click him out. This isn't the way. This isn't the way it's. Yes, I want to remove that. So we've got that. I have actually in the chat or on my YouTube today, I have 9 or 10, probably a couple of years, Bonnie. I have 9 or 10 comments I have to respond to because I came home and started working on the just getting OBS is what the program is called. I came and started to get the OBS up, and it takes me a while still because I don't know what's going on all that well yet. But I'm getting better at it. So, yes, by next week we will. Well, I'm going to quit saying we will. I'm a bit of a procrastinator, and I'm quite busy. So you put the two things together, and then I've got that absent-minded professor sort of energy where I'll focus totally in on one thing, and I'll do that, but everything else will go off to the side, and then something else will hit me. So okay, I'm totally into to cutting decals one day, and then I'm totally into figuring out my OBS the next day, and then I'm totally into learning my CapCut the next day, and of course we have all kinds of everybody has a real life and real responsibilities. So I get kind of distracted. I try to be Mr. I'm gonna prepare everything, and I'm gonna plan out my days, and only do this and only do that, but I'm not very well built for it. I'm getting better at it. So I do think I totally think by next week I'll go back to the one that, yeah, I think I'll just call it image. I will go back to the first one we put up here, because I think that's gonna be, there we go. Come on, I know you're in there. This one. Oh, we restarted the image. Find a good place to pause it, where you can see the image. Looking for some white background. That's there we go. Go back just a tiny bit. I'm jumping all over the place. That's funny. Hi, Tater. There we go, that one. And actually, I bet I can make that bigger. Let's see what happens. Hey, this is fun. So yeah, this one should be easy to do. And then I'll just put Tater-N-Meows underneath it. And then when I put them, when I get them out, you guys will get some. Yeah. So there it is. But I better click here. Let's get the guys moving again. Let's get this and click you out. So, all right, we got Bonnie. Bonnie's becoming the channel's you're gonna be my OG, my old guard, or my original gangster here, because you're with us every day. Meows is scratching me again. Bonnie comments on a lot of the videos, almost all of them, and Bonnie's here for my live stream, and so Bonnie's been with me about a month now. I'm looking at both streams here. It's always weird when I'm broadcasting, because the one on the left and the one on the right don't. Oh, I bet I'm behind. Oh, I paused it. Okay, I know what happened. Okay, I'm just talking to hear myself talk. Chat queen. Bonnie the chat queen. I'm just talking about things you guys can't see. But yeah, the reason the two videos looked so disjointed is because I'd paused the one on the right. So thought you guys were seeing things that I knew happened 5 minutes ago. So now it's looking more normal. So yes, the profound there's the tater. All right, now that everything's back. So I think we kind of I'm again what it's going to be is it's going to be I'm just going to have to build up the viewers so that more people come and start to join the live chat. Otherwise it just sounds like me talking to hear myself talk. Okay, on my screen we got meows going into the kitty litter. Um, he was being kind of careful about it. The funny thing is, it seems like Tater's going to barely fit in there, but he can get in there and turn around because look how big he is. Here's big old Tater laying there. And then he tries to go into the kitty litter box, and he's about as big as a kitty litter box. But he can manage to get in there and turn around and do what he needs to do. Okay, does anybody have any questions or suggestions for stickers or anything like that? Decals, not stickers, they're slightly different. Anything for me to ask the postmaster general when I see him tomorrow, because I have to mail some stuff out anyway. Anybody need to know where to get? How many times do I feed a day? Okay, if I'm home all day, it'll be 5, 6, 7 times because I try to just barely dole it out because Tater will just eat it and then it comes right back up. But when I have to go to work, it's going to be more like, okay, I feed him when I get up. I feed him just before I get to work. I feed him when I get home from work. So that's 3 times, and then maybe a couple more times a night. So I guess even when I go to work, it's probably 5 times. On the weekend, I try to make it more like 6, 7, 8 times, where I'm just putting like a teaspoon in there so Tater doesn't eat too fast. And it's funny because Tater he'll go 2, 3 weeks and there aren't any issues. And then like this week, there was one day where he had a reversal twice, and that's really rare. But if you ever, maybe I'll just film him eating sometime so you can see what it's like. He just goes at it. And those bowls I got were the slow feeding bowls. So yeah, a little bit at a time. If the bowl, I'm looking on the screen. Where's my pause? Boom. Okay. So I just paused it. So the bowls have the raised section, so it's almost like a maze inside. So the cats need to twist around in there to get to where they can get the food out. It's supposed to be a slow feed bowl. And it was for about a week, 2 weeks maybe, and then they both figured it out, and now they can eat just as fast as they used to. So I guess it lasted, well, the first 2 days they just were both looking at me and screaming because they couldn't figure out how to make it work. And that was kind of tough because I felt like I was starving them. And then for about the next 5 days or a week, they were eating really slow. They were digging it. And then after 2 weeks, they just figured it all out. So now they eat just as fast as they ever did. I guess somebody got $15, $20 out of me for those bowls, so. All right, I'm going to ask you a question, Bonnie. What do you like to drink? I'm a tea drinker. I never could get the hang of coffee. It's just too bitter for me. I realize as an American, coffee is kind of the thing, but I just never got used to it. We'll see how long it takes for the chat to catch up while I look at Tater Cat. Yeah, Tater is the strangest cat. Yeah, there's Meows. Meows did not like this. Hey, what are you doing with that thing? But Tater can be, oh boy, that's that's what it sounds like when I get a cramp. Um, yeah, Tater's scared of a lot of sounds, but I've got a heavy bag downstairs that I work on, and I'll get film of that someday. Tater will just be sitting there while I'm pounding on this boxing bag. It's the strangest thing, because he's scared of everything. Black iced tea, no sugar. Well, I can second that. I think that's a good thing to drink. I drink my tea everywhere from hot to room temperature, um, or cold. I don't usually add ice, so I usually just, like, if I make it the night before and it's hanging out for me at room temperature in the morning, I like that. So cool. All right. Well, tonight the goal was to get on screen on time. There were some other video things that I wanted to get loaded that I didn't because it took me a long time to get the chat going, but I'm figuring that out. I'll probably go on the weekend and get it ready to go at least once, if not twice, so it's not a whole week a whole week later and I'm trying to remember things. I definitely learn things a lot more quickly if I do it every couple of days than once a week or once a month. I think probably everybody is like that. Just for the fun of it, I'll put this one up again because this one is going to be cut by next week. I will have this as an actual sticker because I think it's the cutest one too. And we'll pause it somewhere. There we can see it. And Meows is jumping off the bed. I think that's the cutest one too. So that one I should easily be able to make by next week. Yep. And I guess if there are no further questions, yeah, my phone's telling me it's time to go too. Okay, Bonnie. Yeah, it's like, let me see if I do this. I'm going to do this. Actually, I think I'm going to leave it. Watch this. Look how. I'm going to call it that. Let's go to here. I'm looking for, yeah, it was this one. And let me move that and let me make it smaller. So you see how they look similar, but then if I'm going to make this one smaller. I'm just doing this to kind of learn how it goes. So if I make that one smaller, and then I'm going to make this one bigger again, like that. So you see on the left one, where the nose is just one piece and the mouth is just one piece. And then on the right one, how the nose has those two tiny lines up above it. And then the whiskers, it has all those dots. And then if you look at the cheek and up by the ear on the one on the right, where those two little, where the lines stop and there are those two little gaps, that was just when I was trying to, you got to take everything that's not black, you need to take away. When I was trying to make that happen, pull it out, it was just coming apart. And then if you compare Meows here, we'll do this. If you compare I'll put him over here. If you compare the Meows on the bottom now to the Meows on the top, you see how the one on the top has simpler lines for his hair, and the ears, those two little in the ears, those two little lines that are floating, that's just a pain in the butt. So this decal here is going to be a lot easier for me to make than the one I'm about to delete. Yeah, this I'll be able to do. And it's still pretty cute. And that looks kind of tatery, and that definitely looks tatery, and that definitely looks like meows. Click. And let's get the guys going back in. Okay, so Bonnie, thank you for being my number one fan and showing up and watching all the videos, commenting. You've been great, and I appreciate it. So for now, I think I'm going to sign off, and for next week we'll do it again. I'm just going to try to make it a little better, get better at what I'm doing here. Oh wait, he's still stuck. Move, meows, move. There he goes. I forgot to start it going again. So I think that's awesome. Yeah. So we'll keep in touch. I'll post like I post. I try to get videos out every day, but you notice some days I don't. But I try to get at least one video, sometimes two, up every day. And every now and then it's just like, nope, not today, or things. It's life. Life gets in the way, and you don't have time to stop and do these other things. But Tater-N-Meows keep me occupied. They're not boring, that's for sure. So this will be the wrap up, and we will do it again next week. Thank you guys all for showing up. I'm going to put it in the chat. Thank you. See how quickly I can type without having my fingers. I've been getting pretty lazy with all the automatic spell checkers. I've been getting really lazy about just typing stuff out, and then it'll autocorrect. So I need to be better about that. Thanks, Bonnie. All right. Until the next one, thanks a lot.